Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to today's live here. Today's lesson, today's teaching. Are you bigger than fear? Are you bigger than your fears? Well, we'll find out. Okay. So today I just wanted to talk about fear. Like, what is fear? There's acronyms: fear, false evidence appearing real, all these different acronyms. But today I really wanted to just kind of dig in a little bit more with you regarding fear. So, what is it, right? Did you know that we were born with just two fears? Only two fears. That's it, right? The fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. Those are the two fears that we were born innately, right? Born with innately. So, where did the rest come from? Like, where did the rest of the fears come from? Think about for yourself, like, and share with me, like, what's one of your fears? What's a fear that you face, whether it's in your business, whether it's um in your personal life, in relationships with the kids, as a parent. Think about what is that fear that you face. I know for me, um you know I've been living in fear most of my life at some level, right? But, and I'll dig into that a little bit more. But, let's talk just for a minute about, like, what is this fear all about? So, for example, fear is, it really is just this little thing that somebody tried to tell you, to warn you. Your mind wanted to warn you so that you would stay safe. But fear came along. Look, monsters under the beds didn't come naturally. Okay. It came from somewhere, right? So what is that fear for you? What is the fear that you face, right? And the question I put for this message today is, are you bigger than your fears, right? Are you bigger than your fears? So let's dig into it here a little bit more. Fears came from things that have happened to you, things that people have said, your teacher. I mean, think about it, right? We were brought up in fear. We really were. We're brought up in fear. And the reason I say that is because you go to school, and if you get that answer wrong, then you could fail, right? You could have a bad grade, and then you go home and your parents, you get in trouble for having the bad grade. And it's this perpetual cycle of fear, right? And you learn it nowadays on social media. It could be cancel culture suddenly. If you say the wrong thing, you have the fear of messing up your business, right? You have the fear of losing friends and being rejected. All of these fears we have learned throughout life, right? So it's normal to be afraid of things. Like, it really truly is. It's normal to be afraid of, what's coming up, what's going on around you when life gets in the way. It's normal. Okay? So I want you to know you're not alone in this. We're all in it. Everybody has some form of fear. Uh, you know, Women take on much more most often, but the truth is that we all have fears. So let's talk about some of those. In business, if you make the wrong move, could it cost your business? It could cost some things in your business. The same thing as if you make a wrong move in a relationship, if you make a wrong move as a parent. The question that you have to ask yourself in this process is, when you're in fear and you make a mistake, which, by the way, we're humans, we're designed to make mistakes. That's how we learn. I mean, if you really think about it, learning in school, how many times did you get an answer wrong in math before you learn how to get it right? Right? When they were little, kids are little, we go, "Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You'll learn this. You'll learn this." But as adults, we're like, "Why didn't you know this?" Right? It's like, "Hello, we didn't know it." you know, I've said this before, and I'll say it again, right? Is that, I have family members who trust me, they value my opinion, they respect me enough that they'll come to me and say, "Hey, Kimberly, these are my symptoms. What's wrong with me?" Right? Or so and so has this, Kimberly, like, what should we do? And I'm like, I'm not a doctor. Don't ask me, right? But the truth is I'm not supposed to know everything, and neither are you. And you're going to make mistakes because you didn't know it. And you have to give yourself grace in those mistakes. But what happens when fear kind of cripples you and it prevents you from doing things? That's where the biggest challenge around fear is, right? How can you get past the fear of doing something or of saying something or, you know, moving out of the way of something so that you can still win? So let me give you an example of something that happened to me. And I can, I've had many, but let me share one. So my son said to me one day, we went to Santa Cruz. If any of you have been to Santa Cruz, they have I think it's called the Big Dipper. I could be wrong. But, this roller coaster is one of the oldest wooden roller coasters that still exists, right, in Santa Cruz. And my son looked at me and he's like, Mom, I want to go on the roller coaster, but I'm afraid. I hate roller coasters. I don't like roller coasters. So guess what? I went on the roller coaster because I wanted my son to not be afraid. So even though I don't like roller coasters. It's not that I'm afraid of a roller coaster. I'm not afraid it's going to crash. I'm not afraid, of the process. I don't like that feeling of the roller coaster. But my son was afraid and I wanted him to get past the fear, right? So when it comes to getting past fears, one of the techniques is to do it anyway, right? So doing it anyway can help you get past your fear. Say something, right? Look, here's the thing that I've discovered around people. You're going to say things and one day it's okay and then another day it's not okay, right? I've not, throughout many generations of life, people have said things and have messed it up in essence, right? Like they've said it, it was okay in that time period. And now in this time period, it's not okay, right? So you're going to mess it up. You course correct. You pay attention to what's going on around you, right? But, one of the things that you do is you just step in anyway. You do it. Look, when it comes to fear, you need to make sure that what you're doing is, checking in with yourself. Look, you can't ever get rid of fear. It's not going to go away. It's there as a protection device for you. You have it in you. Your brain has been programmed for you to be fearful of things based, like I already said in the beginning. So how can you live in fear and move in fear and get through fear? Like that's really what today's conversation is about. Is when you feel afraid, what can you do to move through it? Right? What's happening right now for a lot of women in business is you're so stuck in the fear of failing, the fear of looking bad, the fear of somebody calling you out on what you said, the fear of rejection, all of these, the fear of, oh, and I'm a perfect one. I just don't like doing videos, but I do them every Friday, right? So how do you just keep moving through it? And you have to ask yourself, is it really a fear or is it something I just don't want to do? So that's the first thing you want to ask yourself. If you don't really want to do it, then why are you putting yourself through it? Now, there's some things you don't want to do in business, but you have to do them or you're not going to be in business. So you're willing to do some of those things based on, okay, I got to do this so that I can do the parts of my business that I love to do. Right? So that's different than fear. I want you to know and acknowledge the fact that it's not fear, it's a willingness or a desire to do it or not do it. And so if it's not fear, if you're truly not afraid of it, then make a choice. Either choose to do it or choose not to do it. Either way, get it off your plate, get it out of your mindset, stop letting it hold you back. Okay? But fear is not your enemy, right? It's there, like I said, it's there to protect you. But it can be a little scary when you're in that space of fear. It can be. I get it. I'm just like you, right? The difference that you want to do for yourself is ask yourself some questions. So, what are some tangible things that you can do? One, ask yourself, is this fear or is this something else? So that's one of the first things that you can do. If it's something else, then you dive into that and you figure out what that something else really is, right? If it's fear, ask yourself, what is it that you're afraid of? Most of the time when people are afraid, it's because they see an end result of something. A child is afraid of the monster under the bed because it thinks the monster's going to hurt them or kill them. What they're afraid of is not the monster. They're afraid of the final consequence of being hurt, right? Or being killed, right? So what is it that you're afraid of? The final consequence. Because if you can take a look at that, you go, oh, well, if the final consequence is that I look really bad, and if I look really bad, I might die from, looking bad. No, you're not. You might look bad. You might lose business. You might, whatever that is. But could you course correct? Yes. But instead of being afraid of it, what can you do to prevent the final consequence, in essence, right? The real final consequence, not the one that you're making up in your head, right? So, what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the best thing that can happen? Asking yourself, right? Like, what's the best thing that could happen? If I'm afraid and I did this, I could conquer that fear, or I could go, oh, my goodness, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was, right? So fear is not designed. I mean, like I said, we were taught to be afraid. Some of it was to protect you, some of it was to teach you, and some of it was to instill the wrath upon you so that you would do it right. Like, I get it. Okay, but you're an adult now. You're not a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10-year-old kid. You're an adult. And you don't have to live by the same rules. And what I mean by that is, who's checking your work, right? Who's going to give you a pass or fail? It's just, now you get to be an adult and responsible for it. My sister, she's afraid of spiders. And she, like, I'll send her a picture of a spider and she's like, oh my gosh, right? Like, she's just afraid of spiders. And I don't know why she's afraid of spiders, but she's afraid of spiders. And my daughter at one point was also afraid of spiders. She doesn't like spiders and she, like, oh my gosh. So she went into the bathroom one time and there's this big spider in the bathroom. And she's just like hollering. She calls her brother. She's yelling. He's like, what? She's like, there's a nope in the bathroom. I can't go to the bathroom because there's a nope in the bathroom. Well, we decided, I got her to believe, like, spiders aren't all bad. Not all spiders are bad. And some spiders are okay, and, this is what they do. And I, gave her, kind of a lesson of different spiders, right? But if it's really ugly, then we can just say, nope, you don't get to stick around. So she called him a nope. So her brother would walk in, he'd get a cup, he'd get a paper, he'd put the spider in between the two, and he would take the spider outside, and his sister could go to the bathroom, right? It's not a real fear, but what I did was taught her, like, some spiders are okay, and then there's some that are just ugly, and you can say that they're nopes, right? Like, because nope, we're not dealing with that one, right? Get somebody to help you through it, right? She got her brother. Well, the same in business. There's some things that you're going to come across and it might be fearful, and you can go, okay, all right, that one's not too bad. I can live through that. Okay, I could share the bathroom with that one, right? I could share the office space with it, right? Or, like, nope, that one's not going to work on my own, right? So you get somebody to help you through it. You get a mentor, you get a coach, you get somebody who's already been through it, right? So that nope gets taken care of, right? Get somebody to help you through it. Right? Think about what fear, what does it remind you of? If you're in fear, ask yourself, what is it reminding you of? Is it reminding you of something from your childhood and you don't want to experience that same pain or that same frustration or that same whatever that is? Talk to that fear. What is the problem here? Why am I dealing with this? I just experienced one this week where, we're we're hmm. See, I can already feel it, right? So we're expanding. We have a big goal. My husband and I decided to step into this really big goal. And I'll talk about that later, not today. And I got this email about this big goal, and the big goal, it was big. And I know my eyes went big and I wasn't even looking at them, right? I was just like, oh crap. Like, that's a big one. Like and then my body, like the things in my body were like, oh my gosh, and like my palms were a little sweaty and my heart started racing a little bit. And I was like, oh my gosh, did I really? Woo, that's a big one. Okay, I guess we're stepping into that, right? Look, your body physiologically, just so you know, is no different. It reacts the same exact way when it comes to fear and excitement. When you get excited, like your heart starts racing, your eyes get big, your hands, your palms might sweat a little bit, and you're excited and your energy's going. And when you experience fear, your heart starts racing, your eyes get big, your palms get a little sweaty, and you're like, oh my gosh, well, how do you decide between the two? Right? Like when you're in fear and you're feeling that, you go, oh, can I turn this around and be excited about something about this? It's the same feeling, it's the same energetic response from your body. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever noticed that? Like, for real, it's true. So, yes, I'm stepping into something big. At first, I thought, like, oh my gosh, like, whoa, that's scary. And then I went, oh, how exciting is that? Like, okay, all right, I'm ready to play. Like, but I'm going to have to learn a lot in order to create that goal. I'm going to have to get advisors. I'm going to have to get support from people who have done it before. And that can be a little scary too. But guess what? I'm going to do it. And you can too. So, my question that I want to kind of wrap this up is, are you bigger than your fear? Can you be bigger than those fears that are hanging out, that are lying around, that just want to like control your thoughts and get you all scared and get you all worried and get you to where you stop producing what it is that you need to in your business? Can you be bigger than your fear and be more excited about growing your business, about being, the lead in your company, taking that new job on, in your business, in the company that you work for or in your business? Can you bring in employees or people to help you? Like, can you, in your relationships, are you holding back in your relationships with people, whether it be a significant other or with making friends, you know, having inviting other people to be with you instead of being lonely, all of those things. So I really want you to challenge yourself around fears, is I want you to ask the questions like, is this really a fear, or is this something I don't want to do? Is this fear that I can shift and turn into excitement? And if or in order to do that, who do I need to get involved to help me with it? And stop being afraid to ask for help. Look, I just spent this week with my mom, and my mom is in a challenging space right now, in a care home, but she's so stubborn. God bless her. She's so stubborn that she won't even ask for help. She can no longer read or write, and they bring in and the care providers, the ones that are there, but the interns will bring in like the morning menu, like what's going to be for lunch and dinner today, and you can make some choices around that. But you see, my mom, she doesn't want to feel like she isn't in control of stuff. And so she doesn't ask for help. She doesn't say, I can't see the menu or I can't read the menu, because she can't put letters together anymore. Instead, she just lets them drop it off. And then she goes and she has her lunch and she doesn't like it. And, she'll complain about the food. Well, mom, all you have to do is ask them to read it to you. That's what I said to her. Mom, they'll be happy to read it to you if you ask them to read it. And she just gives me this face like, I don't want to do that. I know what the face is, right? But the truth is she has to ask for help, or she's not going to be happy. with any of the food because she's not willing to ask for help. Well, the same thing in business. If you're not willing to ask for help, then how do you expect to grow? How do you expect for it to get better? How do you expect to get served up the best things for your business if you're not willing to ask for help along the way and step through the fear of looking bad or somebody, thinking that you're not smart enough, that you're not perfect enough, that you're not good enough, that you're not capable enough or whatever that is. And, get yourself out of that mindset that you shouldn't have to ask for help because there's nothing wrong with it. Okay. It's what you need. It's in order for us to learn. See, as kids, we had teachers to help us. We didn't realize that was help. As adults, we need teachers to help us. Okay. So let go of your fears, be bigger than those fears. It's okay. You feel the fear, you feel the energy, and you do it anyway, right? You do the things that are necessary for you to continue to move forward in life. Well, I hope that's been helpful. I hope that if nothing else today, you get an opportunity to take a look at your fear and maybe reframe it, look at it a little bit differently. Find out, can you be bigger than your fears and move on in your business, in your life, in your relationships, in your jobs, whatever that is for you. Thanks for joining me today here in the Mojave Desert. I have a Joshua tree behind me, and take care of yourselves, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.